This is the Ideal series where I discuss what I would want in my ideal game, console, or any other thingamajig. Today we're talking about the PlayStation 5. Got it? Cool. Backwards compatibility is one of the most desired and talked about potential features for the next generation of Sony hardware, and is probably the number one thing that the PS4 currently lacks. And there's a good reason for that. Every other PlayStation console has been able to play games from the generation before it. PS2 games could be played on PS3, and PS1 games could be played on PS2, but perhaps above all else, it is the fact that PS4's direct competitor, the Xbox One, is fully backwards compatible not only with Xbox 360 games, but with original Xbox games as well. This is something that console was never intended to do at launch, and it was only added to appease fans later on. Hence, the PS4 is clearly the odd one out in this regard, as the only way one can play games from previous generations is to purchase ports or remasters of specific titles. I have little to no doubt in my mind that the PS5 will be able to play PS4 games. If it couldn't even do that, it would piss a lot of fans off. Besides, backwards compatibility is such an easy and effective selling point to add to a console. It would undoubtedly make the PS5 way more appealing at launch, when the console is at full price and the catalogue of native games is low to begin with. By saying, look, here you can experience the next generation of exclusives and play all of the PS4 games you already own, they would be virtually guaranteeing a sales bump. It's a great incentive for those who may be hesitant to hop on board immediately. For those reasons, Sony would have to be stupid not to implement it, and I think they know that. But would you be able to play PS3 games or older? Well, due to PS3 infamously having hardware that is difficult to emulate, I highly doubt it. But who knows? I'm sure if the company was determined enough to pull it off, and willing to spend a bit of extra money and development time on doing so, they would find a way. As for PlayStation 1 and 2 games, my expert analysis would be, I haven't got a bloody clue. It's still unclear when a number of Sony's huge upcoming first-party games, such as The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding, will be released. There's been speculation that one or more of these games could end up launching on PS5 and PS4 simultaneously, as they have all been confirmed as PS4 games. This is certainly not a new approach, but I really do not believe it is going to happen. I think each of the three games I just mentioned will be out on PS4 before the PlayStation 5 releases. After all, none of PS4's launch exclusives came to PS3, and at the time in 2013, Sony showed they were absolutely willing to still put out major PS3 exclusives like the first Last of Us and Beyond Two Souls only months before the PS4 came out. But what has this got to do with backwards compatibility? Well, by releasing landmark PS4 exclusives close to the PS5, backwards compatibility becomes nearly essential to Sony's strategy with PS5. After all, since we have already concluded that backwards compatibility for PS5 is a no-brainer, it wouldn't make much sense for them to release The Last of Us Part 2, for example, on PS5 and PS4 when the PS4 version could just be played on PS5. Instead, I think Sony will approach this similar to the PS4 Pro by offering free PS5 exclusive patches to enhance the quality of recently released PS4 exclusives. Meaning, instead of there being a PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2, anyone who wanted to play it on the new hardware would just buy the PS4 version and install the PlayStation 5 improved patch. This is the strategy that makes the most sense in my head, and I do think it's the one Sony will take, keeping in mind that the ability to play PS4 games on PS5 is a near necessity if Sony wants to have any sort of goodwill heading into the next generation. I, of course, have got absolutely no clue what they're going to do. I could be completely wrong, but I am certain that myself and I'm sure many others would have to include backwards compatibility as a part of the ideal PlayStation 5 console. Do you think PS5 will be backwards compatible, and how important is it as a feature to you? Feel free to discuss this in the comments below. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out some of my other content and subscribe if you like what you see. This has been SirCazz. Farewell.